The engine died on 125th Street. Wrong neighborhood, wrong time of night, wrong car for a white woman to be sitting in alone. The Mercedes coughed once, shuddered, and went silent. Katharine Hepburn tried the ignition. Nothing. She tried again. The engine turned over weakly, then died completely. She sat in the sudden quiet, hands on the steering wheel, and assessed the situation with the same calm she'd bring to analyzing a difficult script. It was just after 9 p.m. on a Friday night in August 1967. Harlem. The street was busy with people moving between bars, shops, apartment buildings. Music poured from open windows. Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Marvin Gaye. Groups of young men stood on corners. Women walked in pairs. Children played on stoops despite the hour. And a cream-colored Mercedes with Connecticut plates had just died in the middle of the block, as conspicuous as a spotlight. She saw them before they saw her. 5 young men, maybe 17 to 20 years old, wearing matching red bandanas tied around their arms. They were standing outside a bodega, talking, laughing, sharing a cigarette. The easy camaraderie of people who'd known each other for years. One of them noticed the stalled car, said something to the others, pointed. They all turned to look. The laughter stopped. The casual postures shifted. They became something else, more focused, more purposeful. Then they started walking toward her. Most people would have locked the doors, would have tried frantically to restart the engine, flooding it in panic, would have looked around for help, for witnesses, for a police car, for anyone who could intervene in a situation that was about to get very dangerous, very fast. Would have calculated escape routes, considered abandoning the car, weighed the risks of running versus staying. Katharine Hepburn rolled down her window. What happened in the next 45 minutes would become a legend that street gangs told for 30 years. A story about respect, about courage, and about the night Katharine Hepburn proved that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can be is completely unafraid. To understand what happened that night, you need to understand Harlem in 1967. The neighborhood was in transition, caught between urban decay and cultural renaissance. It was the home of artists, musicians, writers, but it was also struggling with poverty, drugs, gang violence. The streets belonged to the gangs after dark. Everyone knew this. Everyone accepted it. White people didn't drive through Harlem at night, especially not white women, especially not alone. It wasn't safe. That's what everyone said. That's what everyone believed. But more importantly, you need to understand who Katharine Hepburn was in 1967. She was 60 years old. She'd spent 40 years refusing to be afraid of anything. Studio executives, directors, critics, public opinion. She'd faced all of it without backing down. She wasn't going to start being afraid now just because her car had broken down in what everyone considered the wrong neighborhood. The 5 young men reached her car. They spread out surrounding it. One of them, tall and lean with close-cropped hair, leaned down to look through the driver's window. His face was careful, neutral, giving nothing away. Car trouble. His voice was flat, not friendly, not hostile, just stating the obvious. Apparently so, Hepburn said. The engine died. I tried restarting it. Nothing. The young man studied her for a moment, taking in the expensive car, the elegant clothes, the complete lack of fear in her voice. You lost? No. I'm going to visit a friend on 132nd Street. My car had other plans. Another one of the young men, shorter but more heavily built, moved closer. You know where you are? Harlem, 125th Street, about 7 blocks from where I'm trying to go. You know what time it is? 9:15, approximately. The shorter one laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. 9:15, white lady in a Mercedes on 125th Street at 9:15. You got a death wish or something? Hepburn looked at him directly. I have dinner plans, and now I have car trouble. What I don't have is time for whatever performance you're considering. So let's skip ahead. Are you going to help me rob me or just stand there trying to intimidate me? The silence that followed was absolute. The 5 young men stared at her. People don't talk to gang members like that, especially not white women alone in broken-down cars. You're supposed to be scared. You're supposed to beg. You're supposed to recognize the power dynamic and act accordingly. Hepburn had just ignored every rule. The tall one started to smile. It was slow, surprised. You serious right now? Completely. I need to get this car started, or get to 132nd Street some other way. I'm asking if you're going to help, or if I need to find someone else. You don't ask gangs for help, lady. You got no idea who we are? I know exactly who you are. Young men who control this street. Which means if anyone can help me get this car running, it's you. So I'm asking, will you help me? The shorter one was shaking his head. This is crazy. Marcus. She's crazy. Marcus, the tall one, was still studying Hepburn. What's your name? Katharine. Katharine, what? She paused for just a second, then said, "Hepburn, Katharine Hepburn." The reaction was immediate. The shorter one stepped back. Another one of them, who'd been quiet until now, said, "No way. No way, that's Katharine Hepburn," Marcus finished. He was smiling wider now. "The actress, from the movies." "From the movies," Hepburn confirmed. "Now that we've established that, can we address the car situation?" Marcus looked at his crew, looked back at Hepburn, started laughing. Real laughter this time, not the dangerous kind. "You for real drove through Harlem at night by yourself?" Katharine Hepburn just rolling through like it's Connecticut. "My car was working fine when I entered Harlem. This is a recent development." One of the younger ones, couldn't have been more than 17, moved closer. "Miss Hepburn, you shouldn't be here. It's not safe. You need to." "I need to get to 132nd Street, Hepburn interrupted. "Everything else is commentary." Marcus was still grinning. He turned to the shorter one. "Ty, check the engine. See what's wrong." "Marcus, we can't." "Check the engine." Ty hesitated, then walked to the front of the Mercedes. Hepburn popped the hood. Ty disappeared behind it, muttering to himself. Marcus leaned against the car. "My grandmother loved you, used to watch your movies every Sunday. Said you reminded her of herself. Strong, didn't take shit from nobody. Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman." "She was, passed last year." "I'm sorry." "Me too." He was quiet for a moment. "She would have loved this, you showing up here, car broke down, asking a gang for help like we're AAA. Are you going to help me?" "Yeah, we're gonna help you, but not because you asked. Because my grandmother would come back and haunt me if I left Katharine Hepburn stranded on 125th Street. From under the hood, Ty called out, "Alternators fried, maybe the battery too. She's not starting without parts." Hepburn absorbed this. "How long to get parts?" "This time of night? For a Mercedes? Days probably." "That's not acceptable. I have dinner plans." Marcus laughed again. "Lady, your car is dead. Your dinner plans are dead too. Then I need alternative transportation to 132nd Street. You want us to give you a ride? Through Harlem? You know what that looks like?" "I know what my broken car looks like. I know what being late looks like. Those are my current concerns." Marcus looked at his crew. They were all watching, waiting to see what he'd decide. This was leadership being tested. How you handled weird situations defined whether people followed you. "All right," he said finally, "we'll get you to 132nd Street, but we're walking, and you're walking with us. 5 gang members and Katharine Hepburn strolling through Harlem. This is gonna be something." Hepburn got out of the car, locked it, picked up her purse. "Lead the way." They started walking, Hepburn in the middle, the 5 young men around her like an unlikely security detail. People on the street stared. The sight was surreal. Gang members didn't escort wealthy white women through the neighborhood. This didn't happen. At the first corner, they passed another group of young men, different colors, different gang. There was a moment of tension. Marcus nodded. The other group nodded back, but their eyes were on Hepburn, confused, trying to figure out what they were seeing. "You just walked through rival territory," Hepburn observed. "You notice that?" "I notice everything. Is there going to be a problem?" "Not tonight. Tonight's too weird for problems. Nobody knows what to do with this situation." They walked another block. Hepburn kept pace easily, not asking to slow down, not complaining about the distance. The 17-year-old fell into step beside her. "Miss Hepburn, can I ask you something?" "Yes." "Why aren't you scared? Like, at all?" "Should I be? Most people would be. White lady, Harlem, gang members. That's like the thing people are scared of." Hepburn considered this. "I've been scared of many things in my life. Failure, mediocrity, losing my independence. But I've never been scared of people who haven't given me reason to be scared of them. You haven't threatened me. You're helping me. Why would I be frightened of people who are helping me?" "But we could threaten you, rob you, whatever. You could. You haven't. I'm going to judge you on what you're doing, not what you could theoretically do. That seems fair." The kid thought about this. "That's wild. That's logical." Marcus, overhearing, shook his head. "You really are like my grandmother. She used to say the same thing. Don't judge people on who they might be. Judge them on who they are." They reached 130th Street. 2 blocks to go. A police car drove past slowly. The cops saw the group, saw Hepburn in the middle, slowed down further. Marcus tensed. This could go bad fast. Hepburn waved at the police car, smiled. The cops looked confused but kept driving. "Did you just wave at the cops?" Ty asked, incredulous. They looked concerned. "I was reassuring them." "You were reassuring them? About us? About the situation generally?" Marcus started laughing again. He couldn't help it. "This is the most insane night of my life. They turned onto 132nd Street. Hepburn stopped in front of a brownstone halfway down the block. "This is it. Thank you for the escort." "Who lives here?" Marcus asked. "A friend. We're working on a project together." "What kind of project?" "Theater project. We're trying to bring more productions to Harlem. Give young people opportunities in the arts." The 17-year-old's eyes widened. "You're doing theater? Here?" "Trying to. It's complicated. Funding is difficult, but we're working on it." Marcus was quiet for a moment, then said, "If you need help, like, I don't know, community support or whatever, people listen to us, we could spread the word. Get people interested." Hepburn looked at him carefully. "You do that. My grandmother always said theater was important, said it taught people to see different perspectives. I didn't really get it, but if you're trying to bring that here, yeah, we'd help. Then I'll let you know when we have something to promote." "Thank you, Marcus." She started to walk toward the brownstone steps, then stopped, turned back. "Your grandmother was right about theater, and she was right about you. You're a leader, you're smart, you're protective of your people. Those are valuable qualities. Don't waste them." Marcus didn't know what to say. Nobody talked to him like that. Nobody saw him as anything except a gang member, a problem, a threat. "Thank you, Miss Hepburn." She nodded and went inside. The 5 young men stood on the street, looking at each other. "Did that just happen?" Ty asked. "That just happened," Marcus confirmed. "Katharine Hepburn just walked through Harlem with us and waved at cops and asked us to help with theater." They started laughing. The absurdity, the strangeness, the complete impossibility of what had just occurred. They'd approached a broken-down car, ready for whatever was going to happen. Instead, they'd spent 45 minutes escorting a movie star through gang territory while she treated them like normal people instead of threats. What happened next became the legend. Marcus did spread the word about Hepburn's theater project. When it finally launched 6 months later, young people from all over Harlem showed up to audition. The production was a success. It ran for 3 months, gave opportunities to dozens of young performers. But more than that, Marcus used the experience to rethink how he led. He started a community program, using his influence with gang members to create safe spaces for younger kids. Got them into sports, arts, programs that gave them alternatives to street life. Hepburn came back to Harlem regularly over the next few years. She'd see Marcus sometimes, working with kids, organizing activities. They'd nod to each other. An understanding between two people who'd shared one strange night. In 1971, Marcus enrolled in community college, studied social work. By 1975, he'd left the gang entirely, was working with at-risk youth full-time. He never forgot the night Katharine Hepburn asked him for help instead of being afraid of him. He told the story often, to kids he worked with, to colleagues, to anyone who asked how he'd turned his life around. "I met someone who saw me different, saw potential instead of threat, made me want to be the person she saw instead of the person everyone expected." The story spread. Other gang members heard it. The night Katharine Hepburn's car broke down on 125th Street became part of Harlem folklore. The actress who wasn't afraid, who asked for help instead of assuming the worst, who treated gang members like people. Hepburn never publicized it, never used it for publicity. She'd helped with the theater project because she believed in it, not for recognition. When she died in 2003, Marcus was 56 years old. He'd spent 3 decades working with at-risk youth. He'd helped hundreds of young people find better paths. He was married, had grandchildren, had built a life he never thought possible when he was 17 and wearing gang colors. He was asked to speak at a memorial service in Harlem honoring Hepburn's contributions to the community. He told the story of the broken-down car, the walk through the neighborhood, the moment that changed his life. "She didn't save me," he said. "She saw me, really saw me, not as what I was doing, but as what I could be. And sometimes that's all it takes, someone believing you're worth more than your worst choices." The legend lived on. Street gangs in Harlem told it to new members. The night the movie star showed up, the night someone proved that fear is a choice and respect goes both ways. But the real legacy wasn't the legend. It was Marcus and the dozens of other young people whose lives changed because of programs he created. Programs inspired by one night when Katharine Hepburn refused to be afraid and asked for help instead.